A very good evening all. I'm Aditi Lamba with the Thursday night edition of South Asian News. Welcome to Vision of Asia, voice of our community. We are coming to you from our studio in New York City. Here's what's happening tonight in the coronavirus pandemic. Globally, we are looking at nearly 28 million cases of COVID-19 with more than 900,000 deaths. The US has nearly 6.4 million confirmed cases with more than 191,000 deaths. Quite a sobering number as we continue to grapple with this pandemic. We again like to remind all that health experts across the world are urging all to practice social distancing, wash hands, and most importantly, mask up. Protect yourself and others around you. En masse, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed an executive order today mandating a face covering be worn all time by athletes when they cannot maintain social distancing. This comes as nationwide college and university students, athletes, staff, and faculty are now testing positive and struggling to contain the coronavirus cases, reporting more than 40,000 cases. A cluster of these cases has been linked to social gathering, where some are gathering despite remote learning setting of their institution. With schools, we continue to see a combination of hybrid and in-person learning for many, while others opt for an entirely online learning. If you are an educator or a student with either online or in-person learning, please write to us with your experience on the education system. During the pandemic, we want to find community responses to whether or not to send kids back for this fall. Also urging here all frontline workers and essential workers to share their stories with us on ITV Gold. In New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio today laid out precautionary steps and measures being talked about for indoor dining sets to resume in the city starting September 30th. Some of those measures comprise of 25% capacity, 6 feet distance between tables, temperature checks, and PPE for all employees. We will be closely following up with the story and bring you updates. Also following up with California now, dozens of extreme wind-driven wildfires burned through forests and towns in U.S. West Coast states, destroying hundreds of homes and killing at least 7 people, with millions of acres of land burned. In California, there were at least 64,000 people under evacuation orders, while crews battled 28 major fires across portions of the most populous U.S. state. Our heart and prayers go out to all affected by these wildfires. So much is happening in the nation, so it's time to now begin the South Asian News segment for tonight, bringing you much information on COVID-19 along with happenings in the South Asian community. Here are the headlines. Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Kamal Kalsi addresses coronavirus pandemic developments and vaccine, New Jersey. World Vegan Vision hosts welcome reception featuring Randhir, Jaiswal, new Indian Consul General, New York. This and much more right after a short break on Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. We'll be back shortly. And welcome again. I'm Aditi Lamba and this is Vision of Asia, Thursday night episode of South Asian News. Looking at the coronavirus pandemic's updates, measures, and vaccine, the anticipation continues to get an effective vaccine. While drug giant AstraZeneca paused its coronavirus vaccine trial because of a potential impact in one volunteer, it is now administering all safety measures and still hopes to know if its experimental vaccine protects people against the novel virus by year-end, as long as it is clear to resume the trial soon. This vaccine is one of the most promising ones for COVID-19. Also on vaccines, senior members of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration have joined a growing list of officials, drug makers, and health experts in pledging for a safe vaccine without any compromises in its safety. This comes as the FDA has faced some criticism for speeding up the vaccine process. The pandemic is also causing almost 41% of U.S. adults to skip potentially life-saving medical care, according to many health experts. So what do we need to know now about the coronavirus and its development? And what's the medical take on reopening? Earlier today, we spoke with Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Kamal Kalsi, a leading medical professional bringing much perspective into medical care, the vaccine, and the next steps to take. Here is Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Kamal Kalsi. We're looking at 28 million cases globally of coronavirus, with 905,000 deaths at least. In the United States, we are looking at 6.4 million cases almost, with at least 191,000 deaths. My first question to you is the pandemic over, since people are getting not as serious about it around us?
No, absolutely not. I think all indications are that we are far from this pandemic from being over. The latest data from up in the Northeast, where we are,
Right.
is that certainly infection rates have slowed, but now they're starting to pick up again, right? So as kids have started going back to school, college kids have started going back to school, restaurants have started opening again. People are visiting the beaches and the shores and public spaces. I think it's inevitable that we will get to a point in another month or two where we're going to have to start to shut down
Wow.
things again.
Oh, so you can expect a shutdown maybe in case we can't control a surge back in the Northeast.
I think nationally, that's what's needed. We definitely need a cohesive national strategy that involves a shutdown and folks wearing masks and hopefully we get a vaccine soon, but it's going to be tough. I know that the recent vaccine that's being created by one of the manufacturers has had some development issues, and they had to stop the trial because there was a pretty serious adverse reaction, adverse event. And I think, I can't speak for the larger public, but my family and I were having a conversation, and it just seems that it's all being sort of rushed, and it does not engender any faith or trust in the vaccine that they're developing.
You just mentioned vaccine, and I have to ask you, this is AstraZeneca we're talking about, who has currently paused its trials. It's supposed to be one of the most promising vaccine. Can you give us an insight into what's happening with vaccine in general across the globe and in the United States? And when can we sort of expect it, and who's going to get it first?
So there's more than half a dozen companies, vying to be the first solution to this pandemic. Let's be honest. The vaccine is going to be our best way out of this. But we have to understand that it has to be safe. There has to be enough of it. You can't create 200 to 300 million doses of the vaccine in a short period of time. It's going to take 6 months to a year, maybe longer, to create that many injections and then administer those to the public. Now, if they don't do it right, and if they try to rush through it, they're going to mess up the entire process of herd immunity, because then the public's not going to trust that the vaccine is safe. And that would be a disaster.
What kind of effectiveness are we looking for when we're looking at the vaccine? How effective does it need to be in order to be circulated around?
That's a really great question. Now, we can try to understand it, or maybe talk about it in terms of the flu vaccine, which everybody is familiar with. So everybody gets the flu vaccine. In typical years, the flu vaccine has, gives you somewhere between maybe 40 and 60% immunity, and that's a good year. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's better, and that's you have to multiply that across the entire population. So, in order to achieve herd immunity, which I'm sure a lot of folks have heard that little soundbite, you have to have somewhere between 65 and 70% of the public with antibodies or some sort of immune response, immune protection against the virus. So you'd have to vaccinate over 200 million people, probably close to 300 million people, in order to develop the types of herd immunity that we're looking for. We don't know what what percent effectiveness the vaccine is going to give. So we're all anxiously awaiting some of the data that comes out of these trials.
And it's time for a short break right now on Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. Do come back to us. And welcome again. This is Vision of Asia, the South Asian news segment, and I am Aditi Lamba. Let's now take a look at the World Vegan Vision, whose mission is to increase public awareness about 3 aspects of veganism, which includes health, animal welfare, and environmental conservation. The organization believes in the effectiveness and benefits of a vegan diet by prevention to managing of diseases, cruelty-free food, and contribution to greenhouse gases. The organization hosts several outreach events, fundraisers, and activity to bring together a growing community of vegans and vegetarians. Recently, such an event saw a welcome reception by World Vegan Vision for the new Consul General of Indian Consulate in New York, Mr. Randhir Jaiswal. Consul General Jaiswal is a career diplomat and a member of the Indian Foreign Services since the year 1998. In over 2 decades, he has served in Portugal, Cuba, South Africa, and the Permanent Mission of India in New York. Welcoming him to his new role of the Consul General, many also discussed the importance of veganism and its connection with Indian traditions and heritage. The event also saw ITV Gold PARIKH Worldwide Media's chairman, Padma Shri Dr. SUDHIR PARIKH, in attendance and support for the World Vegan Vision and the new Consul General. Here is the story.
Some people have no knowledge what is a vegan. Let me tell you, 1945, 25th of November, it started in city called Leicester. 5 people met and they started vegan society. Before that, Mahatma Gandhi's word I tell you, what Mahatma said in his own words. I will not eat any meat or any dairy products. It means death. I accept that.
There is an urge by human beings to also spiritually advance. For that reason, when England was the center of industrial revolution and there was a huge material progress, side by side there was a huge a sense of a spiritual understanding that people looked for. And for that reason, when Mahatma Gandhi, several people here have spoken over Mahatma Gandhi. And for that reason, I must make a mention. I see his photograph in front of me. When he reached England for his education, he was very much part of the vegetarian movement that was current in the society in London. He was a vegetarian, and he also agreed and embraced the idea of veganism. So I cannot but compliment you for all that you are doing, and I am so happy that World Vegan Vision has established chapters in India, and I only hope that they will continue to grow in number, size, and more people will come forward.
We have been privileged with the presence of Honorable Consul General among us today. Thank you, Nitin Bhai, for inviting us and having this wonderful event where we are getting introduced. Consul General is getting introduced to the World Vegan Vision community as well as the community in addition, our Indian American community.
Randhir ji, even in the brief time you have been here, it is clear that your heart is in the work of the service for the community and service of our motherland India. And food and climate change are among your many interests. So we are doubly thankful to you that you could be here to lend your support to one of the foremost think tank in this country, which is called Vegetarian Vision. Vegetarian Vision has been engaged in the spread of the message beyond the vegetarian. And as a doctor, I can vouch for that being a vegetarian, we have scientific study showing that even you can reverse the coronary artery disease, heart attack, and so many other things. So I think it's a great way to live the life. And the HK SHAH, you can always count on PARIKH Worldwide Media and ITV Gold to propagate your great initiative. And again, Randhir ji, we welcome you. And on behalf of all my Indian American friends in New York tri-state area, we love you and we wish you all the best. Thank you.
So veganism is something that came in my life accidentally as I was exploring more and more into the diets and how to, because the people come to me. I've been practicing internal medicine for last 35 plus years, and people come to me and say, Doc, I know what to do, but I can't do it. So I had to come up with various reasons for them to understand. And even though I was practicing veganism, but then little by little, as I kept on experimenting, I suddenly realized that veganism has really a great keys for the healthy lifestyle. It lowered the cholesterol by like 50, 30, 40, 50% without medications. Reversed the diabetes, it reduced the incidence of a heart disease, and people were feeling just positively better. And all those things were started to happening, and that took the big momentum in my practice.
We cook, we spice, we have cultures with different kinds of food, but it's a partnership that gives us a body that's healthy and unique and sustainable. India has had a very large vegetarian and vegan community for a long time. God bless them. In terms of animals and the pain caused to animals, that's an issue for PETA, the organization that is against cruelty to animals. But if we just take that philosophy of how we treat animals that are helpless towards human beings with the same attitude, we might accomplish world peace, eliminate hunger, global warming with gases.
जगह है रास्ते अपनी जगह.
When we had this coronavirus problem, I did, work with Nitin VYAS ji, and the World Vegan Vision, and we did provide lots of meals to the hospitals for the frontline workers, as well as to the poor people that really go to the soup kitchens, and also in any form that we can help. And I also connected with the temples, just like Nitin bhai connected with the ISKCON. I connected with the temples who provided the food, who provided the meals for such causes.
Sir, 30 years ago, more than 3 decades ago, when forefathers had moved in to set up a small little Indian business district, which is known as Little India today. It's a very famous Indian district that in the entire East Coast, I would say, where people travel to get their needs, चाहे वो घर का सामान हो, पूजा की सामग्री हो, गांधी जी की फाउंडेशन को एडमायर करना हो या फॉलो करना हो, पूजा करनी हो, या शादी की तैयारी करनी हो, या obviously jewelry लेनी हो. So we have set up all these ancestors have set up a beautiful business district, which we have joined together and named it as an Oak Tree Business Association in the heart of Islin, known as Little India. So on behalf of Oak Tree Business Association, I would like to welcome you to New York and thank you for making us proud and making us stronger presence in this part of the world.
And now in India, we have about 15,000 volunteers who are connecting dots in India to provide COVID-related services. And on this occasion, one of our heroes, because of whom we are able to provide more than 60,000 meals, and it is none other than our own Sri Nitin Bhai VYAS. I want him to come on the stage, and I would give little trouble to our CG. Mr. Jaiswal, please come here, and we need to appreciate Mr. VYAS for his services.
Nitin Bhai, for your outstanding community contribution to the community here. Wonderful. Many congratulations. Thank you. Thanks very well. Please, bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a great theme of living a better life, I believe. Just about last year, when we have an event, HK SHAH say, I'm 90 years old and I can drive you to Boston and come back, I was so astounded that the health is the most important thing. And I guess our another Pramod Amin, also vegan, and he's 85 years old, working all around. So I believe veganism makes sense in our life, and I think we all should follow it.
I think everybody should try that and be vegan. Even American society under COVID-19, many of them have changed their diet to vegetarian or vegan. So I like HK SHAH for tremendous work he created to develop this vegan society, and today it's growing leaps and bounds, and I wish HK SHAH to continue these efforts.
My warmest greetings to all members of the Indian American community here. The consulate looks forward to engaging with you, to collaborating with you, so that we can build better India-US relations. We value your achievements, your progress, your commitment to India-US friendship, and your commitment and dedication to contribute towards India. Thank you very much. Look forward to meeting you all soon.
We are completing 28 years and celebrating today, welcoming our new Consulate General, Randhir Agarwalji, and wish you all the best to ITV and all the viewers. World Vegan Vision has a motive to expand veganism around the world.
The World Vegan Vision, who is the oldest organization creating and raising the awareness, healthy life vegan way, organized the event, the reception for our new Consulate General, Randhir Jaiswalji. We had more than 250 people, those who came over here and supported meet and greet event. We had Oak Tree Business Association, we had senior citizen, we had doctors, we had the lawyers, they all came over there and supported.
And this wraps up our show for the night. Remember to send us your suggestions and get your voices and organizations on our show. Email us on events@itvgold.com or follow us on Facebook @itvgold. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel for free access to many of our popular shows. Thank you for joining us tonight from Queens, New York. This is Vision of Asia, and I am Aditi Lamba. Take care and please stay well.